Daniel Reed returned home late in the evening, walking slowly along the quiet road that passed through the outskirts of the small human settlement. The sky above him was dark blue with scattered stars blinking softly. Daniel liked nights like this. They gave him peace after long hours of repairing communication arrays for the outer edge stations. His job was technical, lonely, and sometimes tiring. But he enjoyed having a predictable life. Nothing too loud. Nothing too strange. Nothing too dramatic. He stepped into his yard and stretched his back, ready to relax, but something unusual caught his attention. For a moment, he thought a star in the sky moved, not drifted, moved fast. He blinked and looked again. A bright point of light was racing downward, glowing hotter and brighter by the second. It wasn't a shooting star. Daniel could feel that immediately. The glowing object was too controlled, too steady, and too purposeful. The object hurled across the sky with a soft humming sound that was nothing like thunder. It flew over the trees behind Daniel's home, then vanished behind them with a muted, almost gentle crash. There was no explosion, no fire, just a heavy thud and a ripple of light that flashed through the branches. Daniel froze at first, unsure if he should call someone. But curiosity grew stronger. He grabbed a small flashlight and rushed toward the forest. The trees stood tall and silent, and a thin mist hugged the ground. Daniel moved carefully, brushing branches aside until he reached a clearing he had never seen before. The earth was disturbed as if something large had slid across it. In the center of the clearing stood a ship not large, but sleek and beautifully designed. Its metallic surface shimmered faintly with shifting colors, almost alive. Blue lights pulsed along its sides like slow heartbeats. Daniel's breath caught. It was clearly an alien craft. Not a drone. Not a military object. A real off-world ship. The ship hissed with a soft release of pressure. Panels shifted. A door opened. Daniel stepped back quickly. His flashlight shook a little in his hand. He expected a dangerous creature or a robotic soldier, but instead, someone stepped out slowly. It was a woman, or at least, something that looked mostly like one. She was tall, graceful, and moved with the confidence of a trained warrior. Her armor was silver and shaped to fit her form perfectly. Light blue patterns ran across the surface of it like electric veins. Her face was striking, her eyes bright violet and focused, her hair long and shimmering like strands of polished metal. Daniel had never seen anything so unusual and yet so strangely beautiful. The alien woman scanned the area quickly, her movements alert but not hostile. When her eyes landed on Daniel, she raised a hand in caution but did not draw a weapon. She studied him as if confirming something important. "You are Daniel Reed," she said. Her voice was calm but carried a faint, musical tone. Her accent was unlike anything human. Daniel swallowed hard. "Yes, I'm Daniel. Who are you? How do you know my name?" The woman took a single step forward, but her legs trembled slightly. She was injured. Daniel noticed a crack along her armor near the shoulder. Glowing faintly, she pressed a hand over it as if trying to hold something stable inside. "My name is Serenia Vallis," she said, "warrior of the Lyran Alliance." Daniel had read about the Lyrans once, one of the more advanced but peaceful species humans had only encountered in distant missions. They were known for their strength, intelligence, and pride. They were also known to rarely make direct contact with humans without good reason. Serenia breathed heavily and leaned against the side of her ship. "I came to find you." Daniel stared in complete confusion. "Why me? I'm just an engineer. I fix equipment. I don't know anything about aliens or alliances. Why would someone like you be looking for someone like me?" Serenia's eyes softened slightly, as if she understood his confusion. She opened her mouth to answer, but suddenly her knees buckled. Daniel rushed forward without thinking and caught her before she fell. Her armor was surprisingly light, and her skin felt warm through the gaps in the plates. "You're hurt," Daniel said. "You shouldn't be standing." Serenia tried to pull away from him out of instinct, but she lacked the strength. For a moment, her pride flickered in her eyes. But then she relented. She let Daniel support her weight as she struggled to stay conscious. I did not expect the journey to damage my ship so severely. Her voice faded slightly. The swarm pursued me across 2 systems. I could not risk leading them directly to you. I had to break off, hide my trail. Daniel felt a cold chill run down his spine. Swarm? You mean someone was chasing you? She nodded weakly. Machine swarm. Ancient. Adaptive. They destroy anything that does not belong to them. They were not meant to follow me here. But they learn. They always learn. Daniel looked around nervously, even though the forest was quiet. Are they coming here now? Do I need to warn people? Serenia shook her head. Not yet. I damaged their long-range tracking before escaping. I have time. A little time. To complete my mission. Her voice weakened with each word. Daniel thought quickly. You can't stay out here. Come with me. I have tools and supplies at home. I can at least help you rest and treat that injury. Serenia didn't argue. She looked at him with an expression Daniel couldn't quite understand. It wasn't fear, or pride, or gratitude. It was something like relief, but deeper, as if she had reached the end of a long journey and finally found the place she had been looking for. Daniel supported her carefully through the forest. Even injured, Serenia's posture remained upright and ready. She watched everything as they walked, her eyes taking in every detail of the human world around her. When they reached Daniel's house, she paused at the door, studying it with curiosity. This is your dwelling, she said softly. Yes, Daniel replied. It's not much, but it's safe. Serenia stepped inside slowly, her gaze moving across the simple furniture, the shelves filled with tools and repair parts, the small kitchen, and the quiet corner where Daniel kept his work equipment. Something in her expression softened again. Perhaps she found comfort in the simplicity of his life. Daniel guided her to the couch. She sat down gently, then removed a small clamp from her armor. A faint blue glow escaped through the crack, fading as she sealed the breach. Daniel approached her carefully. Can I help? I'm not a doctor, but I know some first aid. Serenia studied him for a moment before nodding. Your assistance would be acceptable. Daniel worked slowly, cleaning the exposed area of her skin near the crack. To his surprise, her skin healed differently from human skin. It had a faint glow and reacted to the antiseptic gel with soft sparks of light. Serenia barely winced, though he could tell she was in pain. You risked a lot coming here, Daniel said quietly. Why me? What do you need from someone like me? Serenia looked at him with those bright violet eyes. For the first time, her voice carried something heavy, something that felt like the weight of an entire galaxy pressing down on her shoulders. I came because of a signal, she said. A signal that warned of a disaster returning to the galaxy. The message was ancient, older than human space travel. But it contained a human signature. Your signature, Daniel frowned. That can't be right. I never sent a signal like that. The signal predicted your name, she said. Daniel Reed. Mind builder of soul. The one who would complete the design that could stop the coming threat. Unquote. Daniel shook his head. That doesn't make sense. I'm not a chosen hero. I'm not special. Serenia leaned back, exhausted but focused. You may not believe it, but the galaxy believes it. And so do I. Daniel stared at her. For the first time, he felt the world around him shift, not physically, but in meaning. He had spent his whole life thinking he was ordinary, but now a legendary warrior from across the stars sat in his home, telling him he had a role in something far larger than anything he could imagine. Serenia's breathing slowed as she drifted into an exhausted sleep. Daniel covered her with a blanket and stepped outside to breathe. The night air was cool and calm, but inside his chest, a storm of questions formed. Why him? What danger was coming? And what did the signal want him to complete? One thing was certain: his quiet, predictable life was gone, and the future was arriving faster than he could understand. The morning light filtered through the thin curtains inside Daniel's house. casting soft lines across the floor. Daniel woke up early, feeling strangely alert. Overnight, his mind had been full of questions with no answers, questions he never expected to ask about his own life. He rubbed his eyes and turned toward the living room, where Serenia Vallis was resting. She had not moved much from the position he left her in. Her breathing was slow but steady. Her violet eyes closed peacefully, and her silver armor dimmed to a soft glow. Daniel noticed that the crack in her armor no longer glowed dangerously. The faint light within it had faded, meaning the internal systems were recovering. As Daniel prepared a simple breakfast, he wondered what would happen once she woke up. What would she expect from him? What danger had she brought with her? The idea of a machine swarm still lingered uncomfortably in his mind. Like a dark cloud on a distant horizon, he hoped they wouldn't appear suddenly. But Serenia's words made it clear that they were a real and powerful threat. A soft sound made him turn. Serenia was awake. She sat up slowly, looking around the room with a calm but focused expression. Her movements were graceful, controlled, almost like a soldier who never let their guard fully down even while recovering. "Good morning," Daniel said, trying to sound casual. Though nothing about this situation was normal, Serenia watched him for a moment before nodding. "Your dwelling is peaceful. It is different from the places I know." Daniel smiled lightly. "Well, humans build simple homes. Nothing special compared to your kind, I guess." Serenia's eyes traveled over the table, the tools on the shelves, and the small hologram device Daniel kept beside his workbench. Simplicity can be powerful. Many advanced civilizations fail because they forget the value of simple design. Daniel blinked. He didn't expect her to think so deeply about something as ordinary as a house. "Are you still in pain?" he asked. She tested her shoulder. "I am recovering. Your assistance yesterday helped stabilize the damage. Lyran armor can repair itself, but only if the inner core is not broken." Daniel nodded, relieved. "I'm glad I could help." Serenia shifted her gaze to him with a look that was hard to read, part curiosity, part seriousness. "You did more than help. You acted without hesitation." "That is noted." Daniel wasn't sure how to respond, so he changed the subject. "So, about that signal. What exactly did it say? How did it have my name?" Serenia took a deep breath before answering. "The signal came from an ancient satellite discovered at the edge of Lyran territory. Its origin is unknown, but it carries patterns that match old stellar codes. When decoded, it revealed a warning about a catastrophic enemy returning to the galaxy. And hidden within the warning was a human sequence, your name." Daniel sat down slowly. "But that makes no sense. I'm just an engineer. I'm not a chosen person. I don't have any connection to alien technology." "You underestimate your potential," Serenia said, her voice softening. "I did not travel across systems to find a myth. I found a human with a mind strong enough to adapt, innovate, and understand patterns others cannot." Daniel shook his head. "I fix transmission arrays. I repair old tech. That's all." Serenia stood, slightly unsteady but firm. "That is not all." The message predicted that the mind builder of soul would complete a design able to stop the coming threat. Humans are known for creating solutions under pressure, working together, sharing ideas, building new paths when old ones collapse. Daniel looked confused. "Why would a prophecy talk about me? Or humans at all?" Serenia stepped closer. "Because humans are different. Your species adapts faster than most. You survive in places others avoid. You learn quickly. And you do not surrender easily." Her eyes steadied on him. "These traits are rare in the galaxy." Daniel wanted to argue, but deep inside, he understood she was not talking about him alone. She meant humanity in general. Humans had grown used to being underestimated by other species. Humans were young, messy, sometimes reckless, but they were also stubborn in a way that often led to unexpected breakthroughs. He took a deep breath. "Okay, let's assume the signal is real. What exactly do I need to do?" Serenia reached into a small compartment in her armor and pulled out a smooth, crystal-like device. It shone with pale blue energy and pulsed to her heartbeat. This contains the decoded patterns. They are incomplete. You must finish them. Daniel took the device carefully. It vibrated softly in his hand, and strange symbols floated across its surface shapes that resembled mathematics, but also something deeper, like a language encoded into geometry. This is complicated, Daniel muttered. I need time to understand it. Serenia nodded. You will have some time, but not as much as we would prefer. Daniel swallowed. Because of the swarm? Her expression grew heavier. Yes. The machine swarm is adaptive. They will reconstruct their tracking soon. I delayed them, but not permanently. Daniel felt a cold wave wash over him. So they're coming here. If they determine my path correctly, Serenia said quietly, they will know I came to Earth, and they will come to ensure their enemy's weakness is not repaired. Daniel paced across the room anxiously. We can't let them get here. Earth isn't ready for something like that. Serenia looked at him with calm certainty. It is my duty to stop them. I will not allow them to reach your people. Daniel stared at her, this warrior who had crossed light years to protect a planet she didn't belong to, all because of a signal connected to him. He found himself wondering what her world must be like, what she had left behind, and what fears she carried that she refused to show. You don't have to do this alone, Daniel said suddenly. Serenia blinked, surprised. You cannot face the swarm. They are not an enemy. A human can fight directly. I know that, Daniel replied. But I can help you fix the patterns. I can help you find the meaning behind the signal. If this design can stop the threat, then helping you is the best thing I can do. Serenia studied him again, and this time Daniel sensed something warm behind her intense gaze. Respect. You are braver than you believe, she said softly. Daniel laughed weakly. I'm terrified. I'm just choosing to ignore it. Serenia gave a faint smile, the first he had seen from her. It was small but real. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving forward despite it. Daniel sat at his workstation and placed the crystal device under a small scanner he had built himself. The symbols projected across the room in soft blue light, rotating slowly. Serenia watched with interest as Daniel examined the patterns. These symbols, Daniel said, they look like old Earth mathematics, but more advanced. Like someone used human logic as the foundation for something bigger. That is what caught my attention, Serenia replied. Your species left behind a trail in the stars, long before you traveled them. Daniel felt a strange sensation in his chest. It wasn't fear or confusion, it was excitement. The kind he felt when he worked on something difficult but meaningful. Hours passed as they studied the patterns together. Serenia explained what she could about Lyran technology, and Daniel connected her information to his own engineering knowledge. Slowly, the shapes began to make sense, forming a blueprint for a pulse algorithm, something powerful, something capable of affecting large systems at once. This could disrupt the swarm's mind network, Daniel said finally. If completed. Serenia nodded. Yes. The swarm functions through a shared unity. Break the unity, and you weaken them. Daniel leaned back in his chair. But I still don't know why my name is attached to this. Serenia looked at him with quiet seriousness. Perhaps the signal was not about your past. It may be about your future. Daniel didn't know what to say. The idea of destiny felt too strange, but Serenia's confidence made him wonder if he really did have some role to play. As the afternoon sun lowered, a distant rumble vibrated through the air. Serenia immediately stood, alert. Daniel looked out the window. What was that? Serenia's expression darkened. They have found a trail. Daniel felt his heart pound. The swarm? Not the swarm itself, she said. A scout probe. It is scanning for my ship. Daniel felt helpless. Serenia, however, was calm. We still have time, but we must move carefully. The probe will search the surrounding area. We cannot let it detect your home. Daniel took a deep breath. What do we do? Serenia touched her chest plate, activating a small hologram. A map of the forest appeared. We hide my ship deeper into the mountains, and you continue working on the design. The sooner we finish, the better, Daniel nodded, even though his hands trembled slightly. Serenia noticed, but instead of questioning his fear, she placed a hand on his shoulder gently. "You have strength," she said. "It will guide you, and you are not alone." Daniel felt her words settle inside him, steadying him, giving him courage he didn't expect to find. Together, they prepared to move her ship before the probe could detect it. And as the sun dipped behind the horizon, Daniel realized something important. Not only had his life changed, but he no longer wanted to return to the quiet simplicity he had before. A warrior had arrived at his door, and with her came danger, mystery, and purpose. And Daniel found himself ready to face all of it. Night covered the mountains in a thick darkness, as Daniel and Serenia worked together to hide her ship. The forest was silent, except for the soft hum of the alien craft and the occasional rustle of leaves when Serenia scanned the area. Daniel used a portable gravity lifter Serenia provided, amazed by how easily it let him move large rocks to conceal the ship. Every tool she carried felt like a mixture of magic and science, far more advanced than anything humans had created. Serenia inspected the area one last time. Her violet eyes glowed softly in the dark as her armor adjusted to the environment, dimming its light so she would not be easily seen. "This location is safer," she said quietly. "The probe will have difficulty scanning through the mountain minerals." Daniel wiped sweat from his forehead. "Do you think the swarm knows you're here yet?" "They know they lost track of me," Serenia replied. "But they do not know where I escaped. Their probes search wide areas. That is why we must finish the design quickly." Daniel nodded, feeling the pressure of time growing heavier. Since Serenia's arrival, every hour felt important. Every decision felt like it carried the weight of the world. They walked back through the forest toward Daniel's home. The cool wind brushed past them and carried the scent of pine. Serenia kept her senses sharp, her movements silent and alert. Daniel admired how calm she remained even with danger approaching. He wondered how many battles she had survived, what worlds she had protected, and what fears she kept hidden behind her composed expression. Inside the house, Daniel returned to the workstation. The crystal device still hovered above the scanner, projecting floating symbols across the room. Serenia stood behind him, watching with focused eyes. "Let's continue," Daniel said, taking a deep breath. He adjusted the holographic projection, zooming in on a cluster of shapes that looked like folded spirals. Serenia leaned closer. "These patterns regulate the energy flow," she said. The Lyran scientists believed they were part of a stabilizer. Daniel shook his head. "I don't think they stabilize energy. I think they shape it, like a lens. They direct the pulse instead of controlling it." Serenia looked at him with a mixture of surprise and respect. "You see structure where others see confusion." "I fix broken systems," Daniel replied. "Connecting patterns is part of my job." He worked carefully, manipulating the projection, aligning two patterns that seemed unrelated. When the shapes clicked together, the hologram vibrated. A new section of the algorithm unlocked, revealing more symbols. Serenia inhaled sharply. "This is progress. More than my team managed in weeks." Daniel couldn't help smiling a little. Humans are good at working under pressure. Serenia watched him silently for a moment. "It is not only pressure. It is your intuition. It is human." Daniel paused. Her words carried a depth he didn't expect. Serenia wasn't just observing his skills. She was seeing something important about his species. Hours passed as they worked. Daniel explained his reasoning step by step, and Serenia added insights from her advanced technology. Together, they uncovered more of the missing blueprint. Slowly, the design began forming a complete structure, an algorithm capable of sending a pulse powerful enough to disrupt the swarm's mind network. The pulse wasn't a weapon. It wasn't meant to destroy. It was meant to break unity, to separate the millions of machine minds that acted as one. "If we finish this," Daniel said, staring at the projection, "Earth might have a chance." Serenia rested a hand on his shoulder. "Not only Earth. All worlds threatened by the swarm." Daniel's heart felt heavier but stronger at the same time. He had never imagined being part of something so large. He had never imagined taking part in a fight for the entire galaxy. A low vibration shook the house suddenly. Serenia stiffened immediately. "That is not natural," she said. "Something is scanning the area." Daniel ran to the window. In the distance, a faint blue glow swept across the treetops like a floating curtain of light. "A probe," Serenia said. "It is searching for my energy signature." Daniel's voice shook. "What do we do?" Serenia stepped forward, activating a field on her armor. "I will go outside. I can redirect the scan. But what if it finds you?" "That is why I must go," she said firmly. "If it scans this house, it will find both the crystal and the algorithm progress. The swarm cannot get that information." Daniel grabbed her arm. "You can't face the swarm alone." Serenia turned, her expression calm but serious. "I am not facing the swarm. Only a probe. I can evade it." Daniel hesitated, then let go. Serenia nodded once, opened the door silently, and slipped outside like a shadow. Daniel stayed inside, watching helplessly as the glow moved across the forest. Serenia moved with remarkable skill, keeping distance between herself and the light, while guiding it away from the house. She used her armor's reflective energy to confuse the probe, causing its scan to redirect toward the mountain instead. After several tense minutes, the glow faded and vanished. Serenia returned quietly, her posture perfectly controlled. But Daniel could see the strain in her eyes. She had taken a risk. A big one. "Are you all right?" Daniel asked. She nodded. "The probe will report no findings. But we must assume the swarm will send more soon." Daniel exhaled slowly. "Then we should keep working." They sat together once more. The sense of urgency filled the room, but neither of them panicked. Daniel felt something stronger rising within him, a determination he had never felt before. Serenia's courage, her trust in him, and the responsibility he had for Earth all pushed him to keep going. He studied the final block of symbols. "This part seems wrong," he said. "It looks incomplete because it's missing a stabilizing counter pattern." Serenia folded her arms. "We searched for such a pattern for years. We never found one." Daniel rubbed his forehead. "Maybe it wasn't missing. Maybe it just wasn't in the original message." "Why would it be absent?" Serenia asked. Daniel thought deeply. Then it clicked. "Because humans were supposed to create it." Serenia's eyes widened slightly. Daniel worked quickly, using mathematical logic combined with engineering sense. A new shape formed, something simple, elegant, built on human problem-solving patterns. When he added it to the algorithm, the hologram stabilized instantly, glowing brighter than before. Serenia stared at it with amazement. "This is the final piece. The design is complete." Daniel leaned back, overwhelmed. "We actually did it." Serenia turned to him. For the first time, her expression broke through her warrior composure. She looked, moved, proud, relieved. "You have done something extraordinary," she said softly. "The prophecy was not wrong." Daniel laughed tiredly. "I'm still not sure I believe in prophecy." Serenia shook her head gently. "Prophecy or not, your actions prove why you were chosen. You finished a design no alien mind could complete. Only a human could." Daniel felt warmth spread through him, pride, fear, hope, all mixed together. A sudden alert tone sounded from the crystal device. Serenia grabbed it quickly. "The algorithm is ready to activate," she said. "But it must be connected to a strong energy source. My ship can generate enough power for one pulse." Daniel's stomach tightened. "Then we need to get to the ship before the swarm arrives." Serenia nodded. "We go at sunrise. Tonight, we prepare." They spent the rest of the evening checking Serenia's armor, collecting Daniel's tools, and planning how to reach the ship safely. Every time Daniel looked at Serenia, he felt a growing respect for her strength, her discipline, and the way she had protected him and Earth without hesitation. As the night grew quiet, Serenia stood near the window, watching the stars. "Are you worried?" Daniel asked softly. Serenia didn't turn. "I have faced many battles. I have seen worlds fall and rise. But this is different. How? She looked at him then, her expression softer than he had ever seen. Because the future of two species rests on what we do next. And because I have learned something important here. Daniel stepped closer. What did you learn? Serenya's eyes held a warmth that surprised him. That humans are more powerful than they believe. And that hope can arrive in the most unexpected places. Daniel felt something shift inside him, a connection forming, strong and real. He took a deep breath. We'll save Earth. Together. Serenya nodded, her voice steady. Together. The final battle had not begun. But the path toward it was clear. The algorithm was complete. The threat was closing in. And for the first time in his life, Daniel Reed felt truly ready for what was coming. He was no longer an ordinary engineer. He was part of something larger. Something that might change the galaxy. And he wasn't alone. The night sky above Earth was quiet. But Noah felt anything except peace. He stood outside the cottage, staring at the stars while the cold air of dawn touched his face. Inside, Ziria rested on a chair, her wounds almost healed but her strength far from normal. The village still slept, unaware that the calm sky hid the beginning of something much larger than anything humans had ever seen. Noah knew what was coming. Ziria had told him everything the night before. The enemy fleet was already approaching the solar system. The hunters were not stopping, not slowing, and not turning away. They wanted her. And if they had to burn Earth to ash just to find her, they would. Noah did not want to believe it. But Ziria had years of battle experience behind her. Everything she said sounded terrifying because it all felt real. When the sunlight began to rise, Noah returned inside. Ziria was awake, her silver eyes following him the moment he opened the door. Her armor was damaged, but she had cleaned it and reattached pieces that still worked. She looked weaker than before, but the spark in her eyes was stronger than ever. She told Noah that she had made her decision. She would face the hunters alone if she had to. She would leave Earth and draw their attention away so that the planet would remain safe. Noah listened silently, but something inside him resisted her plan completely. He could not accept the idea of watching her walk into danger without help. He had seen her courage, her loneliness, and the weight she carried. She had fought for her people for years, and now she wanted to fight for Earth too. But Noah felt that it was not right. She had already risked her life too many times. This time, she did not have to face the darkness alone. Ziria noticed the anger building inside him. She told him that humans were brave but not built for this kind of war. She told him that she cared about him and did not want him to die in a battle he could not win. Noah kept his hands on the table and looked at her with determination. He said that humans may not have the technology of the stars, but they had something else. They had the courage to stand beside the ones they cared about, even when the enemy was far stronger. Ziria felt something shift in her chest when she heard his words. She had faced armies, monsters, and commanders who gave orders that shaped entire planets. Yet none of that felt as heavy as the moment Noah refused to let her fight alone. Before they could continue their argument, a sudden trembling sound shook the air outside. Noah and Ziria ran to the window. Clouds split apart, and bright lines of light appeared high in the sky. The hunters had arrived. Their ships looked like floating shadows of metal, sharp and cold, with glowing marks that pulsed like the heartbeat of a predator. Ziria's face tightened. She recognized their formation instantly. It was a hunting pattern meant for capturing targets, not destroying planets. But that did not make it any less dangerous. Noah turned to her and said that they still had a chance. She had a damaged ship hidden in the forest. If she could repair it enough, maybe they could escape and draw the hunters away from Earth. Ziria explained that she could fix parts of the ship, but it needed time they did not have. The hunters would search every signal, every life form, every location, until they found her. They were the best tracking force in the galaxy. Noah refused to give up. He said humans were good at hiding, and even better at surprising enemies who underestimated them. Ziria looked at him and realized that this was one of those strange human qualities she had heard about but never truly understood until now. They were small in the galaxy, but they had hearts too big to measure, and Noah's heart had already decided what path he would take. Together, they ran into the forest. Ziria moved slower than usual, but Noah helped her walk when the pain grew too strong. When they reached the hidden clearing, the crashed ship stood like a wounded beast surrounded by broken trees. Parts of it were glowing faintly with remaining energy. Ziria did not waste a second. She opened a panel and pulled out tools. Noah stayed beside her, handing her what she needed. The sky grew darker as the hunters descended lower, their search beams spreading like fingers of cold light. Each second felt heavier. Each sound in the forest made Noah turn his head sharply. He could feel fear inside him, but he forced his hands to stay steady. Ziria worked as fast as she could. She rewired systems, connected broken circuits, and pushed her body to keep moving. Noah noticed her hands trembling. He told her to rest, but she refused, saying she had one last duty to complete. She said her people had a tradition. When someone is saved by another, they must protect that person until their last breath. Noah told her she didn't have to follow that rule for him. Ziria answered softly that she was not following a rule, she was following her heart. When the ship finally powered on, a humming vibration lifted through the ground. Ziria looked relieved for a moment, but then the sky lit up with a sharp blue beam. It struck a mountain far away, exploding rocks into dust. The hunters had found the energy signal from the repaired ship. They were closing in. Ziria grabbed Noah's arm and pulled him inside the cockpit. The ship's systems flickered, then stabilized. She hit several controls, and the ship lifted from the ground with a heavy shake. Trees bent under the pressure. Noah held onto the seat as the forest dropped away beneath them. Hunter ships rose above the clouds right in their path. Ziria's face became serious and calm. She told Noah to trust her. She pushed the controls forward, and the ship shot upward with speed that made Noah's chest tighten. Their ship flew between two hunter vessels, avoiding their beams by inches. Ziria's hands moved with skill, her body moving like she had become part of the ship itself. But the hunters were too many. They circled around and began firing. One beam hit the side of the ship, shaking it violently. Alarms screamed. Noah felt the whole structure tilt. Ziria struggled to keep the ship steady. She said they could not win in a direct fight. They needed a plan. Noah looked at the radar and noticed a storm forming near the atmosphere's edge. It was a swirling electric cloud, unstable and dangerous. He suggested flying into it. The hunters might lose track of them in the chaos. Ziria hesitated. Flying through that storm could tear the ship apart. But staying outside meant certain capture. Humans, she realized, always took risks when protecting something important. Ziria turned the ship toward the storm. The clouds swallowed them instantly. Lightning flashed everywhere, painting the ship with white fire. Energy currents pulled them from all sides. Ziria had to fight with every muscle in her arms to keep the ship stable. Noah felt the metal floor rumbling as if it was alive. Hunter ships entered the storm behind them, but the storm punished them harder. One of the hunter vessels was struck by a massive bolt of lightning and spun out of control, falling into the cloud depths. The others struggled to follow. Ziria pushed deeper into the storm. The ship screamed like it was in pain. Systems flickered. Sparks flew from a panel. Noah covered Ziria when some wires snapped loose. But she kept flying. Finally, the storm broke open, and they shot out into calm space, with only one hunter ship remaining behind them. Ziria knew she had enough power left for one final move. She shifted the energy of the ship into a burst mode and aimed directly for Earth's nearby moon. Noah did not understand her plan until she spoke. She said the moon's gravity would slingshot them into deep space for a short window. If they used that moment, they could escape far beyond the hunter's tracking range. The final hunter ship fired at them, but Ziria dodged with the last of the ship's strength. The slingshot effect hit them like a giant hand, pushing them forward. Stars stretched into long lines. The ship leapt into silent space, leaving the hunter far behind. When everything finally calmed, the ship floated quietly. Noah looked at Ziria. Her eyes were tired, But she smiled. She said they were safe. At least for now. She said Earth was safe too. Noah asked where they were going. Zyria said she did not know yet. But she did know one thing. She did not want to return to her old life. She wanted to stay with him, travel with him, and see the galaxy through the eyes of someone who had changed her world. Noah felt warmth rise inside him. The galaxy was huge, full of danger and wonders. But with Zyria beside him, he no longer feared the unknown. Their ship drifted into the stars. Two lives tied together by fate, courage, and a connection that neither of them expected. The galaxy was watching. But humanity had once again shown something unforgettable. Humans never gave up.